wonderful. It's going to be an amazing conversation, everybody. If you're on the line already, you're going to want to press star 2 on your phone line or type your question onto the webcast page, because there's so much that's coming through Sara Landon. And we've been having these discussions over the last couple of days, and there's something thick that's coming through. And I've been heated about it. I've got a strong opinion about it, and then I loosen up and I go into love. Then I get a strong opinion and I loosen up. So something I know is trying to be resolved through our awareness, past a lot of the emotions that seem to be that of, we'll call it the old, but for some reason it's being stirred up in various circumstances. And Sara just ignites the field when we get into this conversation, and between her and the awareness of these elegant, simple teachings from the council that are so profound that if we applied them, our lives would absolutely harmonize for the better. And this is what this call is going to be all about. We're going to be talking angels, divine blueprints, goodness, or God and goddess. Oh my, is what Sara's labeled this, but there's so much more. And we may get a little controversial. I may get a little impassioned again. So I'll ask for your patience in that, but know that everything that comes up is perfect in the moment. The judgment from one side to the other, your truth at this particular moment is absolutely perfect, even though it may not match up with my truth, because it's what we're here to experience right now. And collectively, we're filtering, cycling, dialysizing it. I think that's the word. You can correct me, Sara. You always do with my words because I make words up. But there's something that's purging, and by having these conversations and by bringing in the octave of the vibration that's available through teachers like Sara, the council, when we all get in communion together, that's how we truly transform and reach that next threshold that's available to all of us. So sit back, relax, enjoy today's call. Again, if you want to ask your personal question, press star 2 on the phone line or type it onto the webcast page. And for anyone who's new to Sara, you're in for an amazing treat. Just sit back and prepare just to receive a lot of love and compassion and a friend who is there lifting the light for you so that you can see more clearly just how beautiful and special you are. So Sara Landon is a globally celebrated transformational leader, visionary entrepreneur, spiritual advisor to people with big dreams, and a channel for the council. The council is an energetic presence of non-physical beings who expanded awareness and higher level consciousness for guiding people to answer the profound questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my life purpose? Now together, Sara and the council are fueling spiritual growth and personal transformation all around the world by helping people to reach greater levels of joy, love, health, wealth, and fulfillment in their lives. Their profound and powerful teachings have proven life-changing to countless of people who have applied their wisdom to create positive changes in their careers, businesses, relationships, bodies, and their daily lives. So whether you've been on a spiritual path your entire life, or you're just beginning to awaken the power within you, an experience with Sara and the council can indeed be described as coming home to your own truth, which is quite possibly the gift of a lifetime. And Sara, welcome back. It's wonderful to be on this call with you today.
Oh, I have been looking forward to this, as you know, for many days now. So I'm really, really excited to be here with you and the beloved Beyond the Ordinary community. And I am so ready for this conversation that we're going to have and whatever comes through. I really felt guided to call the name of this show or conversation we're having here the path of the way shower, and really stepping on the path, but clearing the path forward and creating a new paradigm, because I truly, truly believe we are stepping into a new paradigm, and it's up to each one of us. I don't think you'd even be on this call or listening to this if you weren't here to answer a calling, if you weren't here with a purpose in your life to be part of the great awakening of humanity and our human family. I really believe a new potential for humanity awaits us all, but I believe it's up to you, and it's up to you and it's up to you, and it's up to me. And it's how we live our lives every day. That's what's going to change the world. It's the impact you make in the lives of others every single day. But for all of us, we are being asked to clear our path forward so we can step into the new paradigm that is coming for all of us. But we cannot take our old stuff with us. And this has never been a more perfect time to have this conversation with everything that is going on in our politics, in our news. You know, people are glued to this and triggered and upset and angry and picking sides. And that's how you know you still have stuff to clear in your field. I loved what you said of just whatever comes up for you on this call, let it come up, because that's how we let this stuff go. That's what it really means to live consciously and with an open heart and from a mindful place, is to recognize that when we're triggered, when we're upset by something, it's not about going outside of ourselves and trying to fix it there. It's not about going outside and picking a side. It's about taking a breath and observing what's coming up for you and realizing that the opportunity to heal and release and clear something is in you, not in anybody else. And there could not be a more perfect time for this conversation. There are no accidents ever, of course, especially when we come together for these conversations, John. But I'm so looking forward to this. And I think as a collective, just when you're here and you're listening to this, if you can just close your eyes and take it in and feel for your truth and let it expand your heart, I think we're ready to go deeper.
Sarah, and again, you're plugged in, and you've got this beautiful flow of awareness that's coming through to you, and you're living it. I see you living in your life. So if any of y'all have worked with Sarah, you know what she carries. If you haven't, I can tell you from my personal experience of knowing Sarah pretty well and counting her as a very dear friend, how she's adjusted to her life and how she keeps recalibrating with the energies that are available for that next level of expansion. She's a wonderful leader and way shower. So the path of the way shower, Sarah, it makes perfect sense that you want to talk about that, because you're certainly have been chosen as one of those and chose to do so. And part of that is you taking responsibility for your own path. And I think that's really what's coming in big time in all of these different fractals through the news, through different scenarios that are coming up that are pinging our field to see where we still have the traumatized, the victimhood, the fear, the judgment running, that's looking for resolution. And I'd love it if you talk a little bit more about that.
It's such an important conversation. So we're gonna take some deep breaths a few times during this call, I can tell. But people come to me all the time and they say, I want to know my purpose. How do I live my purpose? I want to live my highest potential. I want to live a better life. I want. And for most people, it's really very similar. They want love. They want to feel freedom. They want prosperity. They want health. They want well-being. And in every moment, all of those things are available to you. And if you are not experiencing absolute joy and pure bliss in your life almost all day long, then there is stuff that you need to clear in your life. And whether it is shame or guilt or this feeling that we're being a victim, this is playing out on a grand stage for all of us to look at right now. And ultimately, the answer comes back to you. It never ceases to amaze me in private sessions or in sessions that we have that most people do not even know what it is that brings them joy. And when we say, when's the last time you experienced joy? And they can't remember. They don't expect each day of their life to be filled with joy. and happiness and love and freedom and the feeling of your self-worth and your power and prosperity. And it's because of all of this stuff that we have picked up in our life experience. And my belief is it doesn't belong to you. And so the things that are really coming up for people right now, shame, guilt, resentment, regret, scarcity, victimhood, being powerless over your life, being powerless over the leaders that are in our world, and thinking that that is what's controlling your life, and it's not. What's going on in the media has very, very little to do with you, and I would venture to say has pretty much nothing to do with you. But you're reacting to it and you're triggered by it because of something, a belief that you still have about yourself that isn't true and doesn't feel very good. It's a limitation that you've picked up. It's a way of thinking. It's a insecurity, negative thinking. And I loved what you said when we started, because until we take absolute, full, and total responsibility for our life, then we're always going to be a victim. Then the power over our life is always in someone else's hands. And so being a way shower, it's not a way teller. It's not a way demander. It's not about standing up on a stage and telling everybody else what they should do. It's not about having 1 million YouTube likes or followers or views. It's not about how many Facebook page likes you have. It's about how you show up and live your life every day. That's the path of the way shower, showing people the way forward, living with an open heart. When you get triggered by something or someone, that you don't lash out on them. You take a moment and you go within and you say, what about this is not feeling good to me? What is it in me? And making the fix there so you can show up in your life with an open heart, in your joy, and seeing the goodness and abundance that is there for everyone. I'm going to get a little bold here. And you and I had this conversation over the last couple of days. And, you know, we have a very significant event playing out in our media right now where most people are picking a side. You're either on this side or you're on this side of the story. Either you believe her or you believe him. And we're picking sides. And if we're picking sides, then we are the ones that are suffering, because it is about something within us that is feeling helpless or like a victim. You know, there are some people that believe that random bad things happen to good people. And the wisdom that comes through me says that there's not random, terrible things happening to good people, that you have a power and you have the ability in every moment to tune in to your intuition that will always guide you. I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and the conversation was about things that happen to people, and we have all had things. So please don't ever take anything that I'm saying that, you know, hasn't been things that have happened in my life that were extremely painful and difficult for me to actually live this wisdom that says you have complete and total full responsibility over your life and everything that's happened to you. And the conversation went a little bit like this. And I'm going to get bold, and I just have to tell you all, like, I say this with an absolute open heart and love and so much compassion. We were talking about when a criminal type act happens to someone that is innocent, that person didn't do something to cause it. Maybe they were mugged in an alley. Let's just take that example. When you're mugged in an alley and you have the highly, highly emotional response and the emotional experience, and it's scared, you feel powerless, you feel totally out of control, you feel like a victim, you feel like this is a hostile, terrible world that we live in and really bad things happen to good people. These are all the beliefs that we get going on about it. And it's so much easier to focus all of our attention on the person that was the villain. And I'm not condoning in any way actions against other people that are harmful, because my absolute belief and truth is that when you are living from a conscious, aligned, loving, open-hearted space, you don't hurt people. You don't hurt animals. You don't hurt people. So when you have unconsciousness and wounded people walking around, that's the people that are hurting people. When you're a conscious, loving, aware, grounded, aligned person, you're not hurting people. But what happens when something happens in our life and we're focusing on where we have been victimized, and I'm not saying those were not incredibly deeply emotional experiences. However, we spend our time pointing the finger at the person that hurt us. And I believe in all cases, the most hurtful part of it all is we got the intuition and the feeling that we shouldn't walk down that dark alley, and we didn't listen to it, and we did it anyway. Not that we invited in, not that we were asking for something bad to happen, because no one would ever consciously, intentionally choose to go through any type of incredibly hurtful experience. But sometimes underneath it is the feeling of shame that we didn't listen to ourselves, that we didn't trust our intuition, that we got a really clear feeling that we shouldn't do whatever we were supposed to do, and we did it anyway. I had the same conversation about relationships. I could take the relationship in my life, the romantic relationship in my life, where I feel I was the victim of certain things. And I can tell you that it was much easier to focus on how he had done something wrong to me than me going back to the many, many, many times that I clearly heard and saw the red flags. And I did it anyway. And I think what many of us carry deep down underneath the feeling of being a victim is the feeling that we know we're not powerless. We know that intuition is always there guiding us. We know that there is always this little voice that's saying, don't do this, don't do that, or yes, do that, do this. And we just got so attached to the outside world and all the noise that we forgot to listen to that little voice that can always and is always trying to guide you around things that are not in alignment with you. And if we will take a moment to just accept that we have the power over our lives, that the path to freedom is within, the path to love is within, the path to self-worth is within, prosperity, power, health, healing is within. And I truly believe as we step into our power and take responsibility for our life and move forward from this place, we are clearing the path forward. We are creating a new paradigm. There is a potential for humanity to live harmoniously, abundantly, freely, and it starts with you, and it starts with me, and it starts with each one of us living this stuff in the world. But we have to get really, 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 really honest with ourselves and know that when we are focusing outside of us and we think the solution is outside of us, a different political leader or, anything, the financial systems, there are people that thrive in markets that are crashing. There are people that thrive no matter who is in office. There are people that thrive it doesn't matter what the stock market's doing. There's people that are always healthy even when everybody else around them is sick. Everybody listening to this has the ability to be that person. That, to me, is the path of the way shower. And it doesn't mean that you do it perfectly. It just means that you get really comfortable and really good at this process. And first off, you will be so much happier. Life will feel lighter and more playful and more joyful and more expansive. You know, that's the other piece of this as well. Most of us left our freedom in our childhood along with our innocence. And if we really want to create and be creators at the highest level, you have to get your innocence back, which means you have to get your playfulness back and your silliness and your ability to have fun in your life. And it's really about getting back to that place of innocence within yourself and allowing others to get back to that place within themselves whenever that is for them. But the love is here for you. The council says that there is no word for forgiveness from the realm that they're in because there's nothing to forgive. And the moment it's done, it's forgiven because we've all been all things. But the opportunity for all of us here listening to this is that you can be the leader, the way shower of a path forward that is kind and open-hearted and conscious and that isn't triggered and isn't reacting, and in a way where you're not suppressing any of your feelings. You just get so good at seeing these things. And so I'll stop there, John. I'm sure you have a lot to say about this, and I want to hear from you.
No, absolutely. Well, one thing that I want to add to that is that you said you can become a leader in it. I truly think that the leaders that are stepping in can't help but have this. You're going to see the future leaders with that template that you just talked about, and anything less than that is not going to be deemed acceptable. It just won't. There's a level of transparency that's happening, and again, we're reaching this threshold, both individually and collective, about what we're ready to receive. In the being ready to receive, we're also prepared to let die what's ready to die, to let go what doesn't serve anymore. And that can be triggering for a lot of people. So all of these ripples of fear, all these circumstances that we're seeing outside, it's pointing to those patterns, to those foundations that can't survive anymore. And so it's getting louder, and we're feeling it. If you're feeling a reverberation of those old trends, I guess we can call them, it's because something is clearing out in our system. And like you said earlier in the call, we truly won't be able to cross that threshold with the patterns of fear, judgment, resentment, shame in the system. So the sense of urgency is coming up for a reason, because we're being gently shoved into this new energy. And again, it's a beautiful reflection of what's available to us on the other side. It's like when my brother pushed me off the side of the pool when I couldn't swim, and I learned to swim, but he knew I could. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was malicious, but also very empowering at the same time. So I think there's energy that's happening that's nudging us in that direction. And if it feels uncomfortable, or we're being called into particular emotions that maybe don't feel so good, or they have us up in arms, it's that invitation of being shoved into the pool because you're equipped. You're ready to swim. We have had this conversation about shedding your limiting beliefs, letting go of the fears, no longer being the victim, for the last 5 years on Beyond the Ordinary. I can guarantee you, even if you're new to these calls, that you have somehow mastered all these concepts, and it's an integration that's taking place right now. And you're being called forward in a new way to break beyond the threshold, as uncomfortable as it may be to go through that membrane. You're not going to be able to help it but to go. So you can do it the easy way with this with awareness, with self-awareness, with something that I want to talk to you about, your inner child and your stories about embracing your own inner child, Sara. Or we can do it with the stories that are being played out. And again, they're stories that are being played out in the collective through the media, through politics, through the stock markets, to those mirrors that are trying to show us where we have access to something different. So again, I love that you brought in the new leaders and what's coming up. And Sara, to turn it around a little bit, I'd love it if you'd bring up what your new relationship is with little Sara.
Yeah.
And how that's opening something up for you that's quite different.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I said this to you as we were getting ready to start the call, but there is just no greater relationship than when you start having a relationship with yourself and your inner child and this higher self that we all have, the soul, the higher self, the spirit. We talk a lot about that, especially on this platform, that higher self connection, that higher self connection, that higher self connection. And it's fabulous. It has changed my life to come into alignment with my higher self. And when I'm aligned to my higher self, my life unfolds in the most amazing ways. And then there's the you, the adult you that is listening to this, that is really more of an observer. What's really going on in your emotions and your feelings and all of that stuff, in my viewpoint, that is your inner child. That is your inner child. And most of the time, what we're saying to our inner child, we would never say to our worst enemy. And yet you're saying it to the most delicate, innocent, precious part of you. So when you feel sadness come up, it's usually not this adult you that's observing from this conscious, mature viewpoint. It's this inner child in you that's really sad, that didn't get, so here's how you know some of these things. If you're looking for approval from anyone in your life, if you're looking for anyone to accept you, if you're looking for this person that is going to understand you, they cannot show up until you accept yourself, until you fully approve of yourself, that you're the best version of yourself right here, right now, and you're always growing and becoming more, but you're perfect just the way you are. Most of the time, people are looking to be in a relationship and they want someone that just understands you, and yet we don't take the time to understand ourselves. And, you can call it an archetype or a metaphor, but I truly believe, at least in my own experience, it is my inner child. And we all have these stories about childhood. We have these stories that go over and over, and they are what have formed your life. They have impacted every relationship you've ever been in. They impact how motivated you are or aren't. It's how your inner child sees the world is what's showing up in your life. And so for me, I started my inner child away and stopped listening to her a long time ago. And what happened, what went away when I did that was my sense of happiness, feeling like life was fun and playful, my creativity. And people come to me all the time and say, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And yet they don't feel creative. They don't feel fun. They're not really passionate about anything. Life's heavy. They've been working really hard. And that's because you haven't been connected to your inner child. And when you start having a relationship with your inner child, it will change your life. And it is a process and it is a journey. But if you are aware of what this little inner child in you is feeling, when someone doesn't pay attention to them and they're feeling ignored and they get really upset, it is not you, the adult you. It's that inner child that is still processing at that level of maturity or consciousness, not the consciousness that you have. And so you might not understand why you're getting all angry or reacting or feeling the way that you do. And so if you will start listening to your inner child and start creating a relationship with this, just like you would your own child, you will see your life change. You will know what your purpose is. You will feel this joyfulness, this playfulness. Your life will be fun. You will start being creative all of a sudden. But you've got to listen to your inner child the same way you would do the most precious child in your life. When your inner child says, I am so tired, I just want to go to sleep, do it. Don't say to your inner child, no, you need to work harder. You need to do more. You would never say that to your inner child. When your inner child says, I want to have pizza for dinner, you say, okay, well, we can have pizza, right? What most of us say to our inner child is, you're not thin enough, you're not healthy enough, you're not pretty enough. In fact, you're getting old, and now you have wrinkles, and you don't look as good as you used to, right? This is the stuff that goes on in our head. But the person, when your thoughts are running on autopilot like that, the person that's hearing everything you're saying is your inner child.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, and the message, Sarah, and I have to interject, it's basically you're not a priority.
You're not important. I don't have time for you. I don't care what you want. I don't love you because you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not strong enough. And so then we go out in the world and we try to find a person that will love us and understand us and accept us and have fun with us and be playful and funny and joyful, and yet you are that person. You're just not allowing yourself to be that. You're just not making time for that part of you that is really playful and creative and funny. And when you do that, what happens is all these incredible people show up and they start playing with you. They have fun with you. They're joyful like you. They create with you. We have to get this part of us back. When you were a kid and you wanted to create something, you were not thinking, how many Facebook likes am I going to get? If you wanted to paint a picture as a kid, you painted a picture for the fun of it. You weren't trying to think about how much you could sell it for. If you wrote a little story and drew little pictures that went with it, you weren't doing it so it would be a New York Times best-selling book. You did it for the joy of creating. You did it for the joy of playing and having fun and expressing yourself. And so if you want to feel more aligned with your purpose and your potential, align to that freedom within you, that innocence within you, and really cultivate this relationship with your inner child. Does that make sense, John?
Oh, it makes beautiful sense, and that's actually so in alignment with the message I received last week. As a matter of fact, I was doing some inner searching. I was going deep in meditation and getting into what I would call finding the light shadow, which is that aspect of shadow that really is of the light, but it's been buried deep within. And I had this being, if you would come through, this awareness, and it was a he, urging me and reminding me and saying, moving your life forward, it's important how you show up to every relationship that's going to set the foundation of how that relationship blossoms. So in everything that you do, ask yourself why you're there. Why are you in this relationship? Why are you having intimacy with that present moment? And if it's not from joy and from expressing love, that I really needed to think about what I was doing and to align with those aspects. And by doing that, the world reflected back to me would expand in ways that I haven't given access to yet. That's it. Those simple things. Are you there in joy, or are you there in love? Are you there to share love and receive love? And if you're there from those as those foundations, that's it. Everything else will be provided to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all want to express ourselves freely. We all want to be who we are. And yet we're always learning more about who we are, and we're discovering our truth and more authentic, yet we all just want to be who we are. And you can. we look so outside of ourselves at being more like other people, be more like this person because they're famous or important, or be more like this person because they're successful and wealthy, or whatever it is. But yet I think we do that because I'll speak for myself. Some of these beliefs that we pass down over generations, children are supposed to be seen and not heard, right? Some of these beliefs that we have, you kind of have to learn to go along with things that you don't want to do in order to avoid consequences or to be approved of. And so we start, you can call it dimming your light or betraying your soul or whatever it is, but we don't act and speak and create in a way that we feel free to do so. And do you know how ticked off your inner child gets and resentful your inner child gets when it doesn't feel like it can say what it wants or do what it wants or have what it wants? That is one of the biggest things I said, why would I have resentment for anyone, right? But yet I would get triggered by certain things, and the feeling that would sort of come up is this resentment, right? Maybe someone had more money growing up, or maybe they had we look at things and say, well, they had a better opportunity, or they had better parents, or of course I didn't think that because I had great parents, but and because just they might be listening. but we look around and we say that everybody had it better, and so we get sort of resentful. What I believe underneath that is it's this inner child in you that wants to do something and be something and say something, and yet doesn't feel like it has the freedom to do so. And you get resentful, and then we start judging other people, and then we start pushing against other people and getting triggered by them, and that's where I think a lot of that anger comes from. And so, I want this call to be, of the highest vibration. I want this conversation to guide us all to really knowing that the path to freedom is completely within your reach in this moment. That freedom is available to you in every moment. Our self-worth is so, so, so important, but it's on the other side of these patterns and these loops of our thinking that we get in. And you said something the other day, John, and I'm just going to call you out on it because it was so good. But, our negative thinking, our stuff that we hold on to, that, we have all of the wisdom, we have all of the information to apply it in our life, and usually it's so simple. It's just slowing down, apply this wisdom that we have. And if you don't think you're worth it, which you totally are, if you don't think your inner child is worth it, which they totally are, then do it for the children. Do it for the next generation. Because they are coming in and they are so close to this pure positive source energy. And if we just don't mess up the next generation with our beliefs of limitation and lack and scarcity and victimhood and fighting and resentment and shame, if we just don't pass that down, they don't come in with it, and neither did you. You didn't come in with it either. You can transcend it, you can release it, you can clear it. But if for no other way, know that this potential for humanity that we talked about at the beginning that awaits us all, it is up to you. And this is the path for the next generation. We're clearing the path not only for your own life, but for the next generation to come in so that they don't have to do the work of clearing things like shame. Let's allow them to come in and not know what it's like to be shamed because, and again, we've all hurt people, we've all been hurt, but from the most conscious place, we don't hurt people. When you are whole and complete within yourself and not carrying feelings of resentment or shame or limitation, you just see the absolute love in others. You see them as whole and healed. You see them for the divine beings that they are. And when we see others like that, it feels really, really good to them. And yet, if you start shaming someone for something, it feels really awful to them. And we don't have to do that to the next generation.
That's beautiful. And you're being so much more polite than I was being. And because and everyone that's called, I was pissed off, and I'll just say it out loud. I was mad that we have been doing and we've been talking about these things and we've been sharing these tools, and that we still get calls and questions, and I don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to break past these patterns. And there was this calling inside of me, that this fire with the sword that just wanted to wipe it out. It's like, if you can't do it for yourself, at least do it for your children, because they don't deserve to suffer our suffering. We brought them into this world, and it's up to us to leave them in the world that's better than what we came here with. And that's the clarion call. And then a couple of days, I was doing a private session, and I was having a conversation. They may be listening today, and I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for bringing this to my awareness, and we're getting to the other side of it as well. But she couldn't land on the basic wants. I asked her what she wanted in life, and there was no receiving. Love, respect, intimacy. She couldn't name it. It's like it was such a foreign concept, and my heart just sank, and I welled up in tears. It's like, and it's what we've grown up in. It's what we've been enculturated with. And it's time that all of us get past this. So those of us who can see the woods for the forest, the trees for the forest, thank you. Those of us who maybe are a step ahead and have a little bit bigger vista, it's, God, keep opening up your vistas, keep clearing the fields, opening up, and dare to step into the new pathway. Because as we do that, we get to share that with other people and illuminate what's possible. So for me, it was an and. Yes, that big call. It's like, come on, people, it's time. We have to do it now. If not for us, then do it for my kids. And that was my own personal call, because I know that I've done things for myself out of the love for my children that otherwise perhaps I wouldn't have. And so that was my trigger. And a lot of times, because especially a lot of people on this call, a lot of you're such givers. And if you hear the call that if you can't do it for yourself, if you can do it for someone else, that might prompt you more into action than it would just being okay, being the martyr, because, God, we've been taught that. We've been taught that it's okay. We'll take on the pain for everybody else because we can handle it. And it doesn't work that way anymore. It's not for you to handle. We're not taking on other people's karma for them, but we are becoming leaders and sharing a path that's available. And that was the call. And again, you surmised it with such love, Sarah, and it's really the love that provides the energy, the portal to step through the other side. So I love what you're bringing forward and the way that you have, and you help bring clarity to that conversation to me as well. So I'm so grateful for that. And again, that's the path of a true way shower. So again, It's wonderful. Now, Sarah, I'm guided to open up for Q&A.
Hold on really quick, though. I want to bring this all full circle to what we were just talking about with the inner child. I just got chills when you said what you just said. And you said, if you can't get beyond the negative thoughts and the loops that we get stuck in and the stories, if you can't get beyond it for yourself, then do it for your children. And every cell in my body just lit up. If you can't do it for this adult you that you know as you, then do it for your own inner child. Because they are more with you and will always be with you and have always been with you, and they will be with you for the rest of your life experience here. Your children are going to grow up and they're going to have their own lives. Do it for your inner child. Let this be the day that you decide that I am going to step on the path. The path is not a particular road you're walking down. The path is not, do I take Main Street or Front Street? Oh no, if I take Front Street, I'm going to go on the wrong path in life. No, it's not about what the name of the road is that you're walking down. It's how you're walking down the road. Are you walking down the road with your head held high, with a smile on your face, able to look others in the eye, feeling love in your heart, bringing joy to this world? They are not trucking in joy and love from some other planet. You are the one bringing joy to the world. You are the one loving yourself and loving others in your life. That's the path of the way shower. Getting in alignment to infinite supply and abundance and sharing your gifts and opening to receive. It's all here for us. It has been, but we have all the tools. We have everything that we need. This is our time right here, right now to step into this and do it for that inner child in you that now has the opportunity to have everything that she wants or everything that he wants. You can. You can, and it's been here for you all along. So I just had to, I don't know, that just needed to come out, John.
It did need to come out, and I was on that thread, and I lost it, and you came right back to it, and it's so wonderful. And that's the call. That's what's coming up. And again, it's all these things that are being purged through the collective. It's all pointing back to our own personal growth. So again, if it's, like Sara said, if it's triggering a reaction on the outside, there's something that wants to be looked at. There's an intimacy that wants to happen on the inside. And from that, we get to transmute the judgment, the guilt, the shame, anything that comes with that, and again, become the way showers that everyone on this call, you're here to become. But first, become a way shower for yourself. Become a way shower for your little child, for that little bundle of beauty that just wants to play with you, that wants to share love and has so much wisdom to share. And also is a conduit and a portal for your connection to your guidance, to opening up those intuitive channels that's only waiting to expand more love within you. So again, it's such an amazing conversation. So you know what, before we go into Q&A, let's get into the path of the way shower. Let's get into the special offer, and then we'll open up, and perhaps the council will come in also. Perhaps, we'll see. But I think you are the council, Sara. So it's however that happens to translate tonight. I think it's so integrated with you that I'm loving the energy that's streaming through. But first and foremost, I do want to go into this new live course that you're offering because, again, you're packing some heavy awareness. And, again, it's like you're pricking through that bubble of that threshold that's available for all of us and providing, again, just the luminance. Again, you're allowing those rays of light to stream through so that we can know which path to follow into what's ready to open up. So, again, everybody click on the special offer button or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sara17. And I won't even get into my numbers lately. I can't remember anything. But, yeah, beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sara17. It'll take you to that same page. And, again, it's this amazing program about clearing the path forward. A new paradigm begins 2019 and beyond. Sara, explain what you put together and why.
Yeah, so I got to give you just a little background on how this came about. So as I've mentioned a few times, I really get like a title of what we're supposed to bring through, and I get the bullets of it. But this is a channeled experience that comes through in this course and in these live courses. And this is why I really like to offer live interactive courses on this call instead of older audios that maybe I've done or older programs, because I want it to be so relevant to what we're going through right now. And, you know, what I am particularly passionate about is, you know, really helping people figure out what is their purpose and how do they live it. And the question that I always ask myself is, how do I live my highest potential, right? How do I fully answer the call of the reason that I'm here? Why am I here, and what's my purpose, and how do I live it? And for me, and I think for a lot of you who I know in this community, we've felt this deep sense of responsibility that we really did answer a call to come here, and we have something important that we're really here to do, and that we're part of this great awakening that's going on, and that there's a reason why we're here at this time. And so I wanted to do something, you know, more along the line of, okay, what is the path of the way shower? Let's create a new paradigm. And that's really what I wanted to offer on this call was a course that was around creating a new paradigm of relationships and health and wealth and power and freedom. And what really came through very, very strongly is, yes, that's coming. However, as a collective, we want you to really clear your own paths forward. And in clearing it in your own life, clearing it in the collective here that comes together to be part of this course, that you're also helping to clear it in humanity as a whole. And so this class and this course is going to be very high vibrational. It's going to be very, very uplifting, but we are going to collectively let go of these things. It's your opportunity to show up if you're ready to let go of these things. But the first part is going to be a 6-week live channeled course, live Q&A with myself and the council. It's called Clearing the Path Forward. It's going to be the first in our Way Shower series, and it's a new paradigm begins 2019 and beyond. And let's clear all this stuff from our collective here, our own selves, so that we can really move forward and create a new paradigm of relationships, health, wealth, power, and freedom in 2019 and beyond. So the first piece is the path to freedom, clearing shame, guilt, resentment, and regret, and collectively and within ourselves, so that we can create freedom and sovereignty in all areas of our lives. And the tools really here are going to be around getting to the place where you can act and speak and create and express yourself freely without resentment for what others have that you don't, or without regret for, things that failed in the past, or without the shame and the guilt and the counsel. This is so big right now. Shame is the farthest emotion away from joy. Most people are walking around in shame, and it's that shame that keeps them from really experiencing joy. If you do not know what your purpose is, it's because you are not allowing joy in your life. If you do not feel creative, it's because you are not allowing the vibration of joy in your life. So that's part one. Part two is going to be the path to self-worth. And I'm telling you, self-worth is so big and so important right now. It's at the forefront. Self-love, self-worth, self-acceptance, self-realization, all are the same thing. So clearing your insecurities, self-destructive patterns, which is loops and stories that you tell yourself and continue to tell, and negative thinking, and really getting past these things that keep you stuck from realizing your self-worth and your infinite potential. It's time to unlock this infinite potential in our lives, and this is really the path to that self-worth. So part three, which is going to be the third week, is the path to love. Oh, I can't wait for this one. And hear how this came through. Clearing relationship wounds and childhood sadness. When I was writing this, putting this together, I really just get into this open channeled space and the words come through. And the word childhood sadness came through, and I could feel this collective take a moment and go, oh, yeah, my inner child is still kind of sad. There's something about that there's some sadness there that we carry. And so it's really about healing that inner child. This is going to be a really, really cool part. I can't wait for this. But healing your inner child's sadness so you can ignite your creativity and your innocence and your playfulness in relationships. Think about when you've ever had someone in your life that's just playful, or when you've been in a relationship with someone that's playful and creative, especially in an intimate one. Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. And we can all get there. And then we're going to really work through relationship wounds to cultivate perfect kindness and opening to new levels of love in your relationships. A very, very dear person in my life loves Joseph Campbell and shared the definition that Joseph Campbell had, that love is perfect kindness. And so I practice this in my life since he brought this to my awareness of how important it is that love is perfect kindness. And if you cannot be perfect kindness in your relationships, it's because of wounds that you're carrying or childhood sadness that you're carrying. And can you imagine what our lives would be like if everyone we were in relationships with practiced perfect kindness? This, to me, that thing right there is the path of the way shower. Are you practicing perfect kindness in every single one of your relationships? And you know what, guys? We can create a paradigm and a world where our relationships are one where we treat each other with perfect kindness. That is our highest potential, and we can get there. So part 4, the path to prosperity, clearing beliefs of lack and scarcity. And this is big, and it is our birthright to live in an endless flow of abundance. And so many of us still have this lack mentality, this fear over money, this fear over, well, it's come, but what if it goes away? What if I don't have it? It cripples us from moving forward, when I promise you, if you will just move forward and get through that, everything you need will show up, and usually in the most incredible ways. But we're going to go through a process to really shifting your money beliefs to invite in more wherever you are. It is not spiritual to be broke. We believe that spirituality is to be concerned with matters of the soul and not material and financial matters. But the fact is, we have money on this planet. And if we clear these things, money flows in easy and abundant, expected and unexpected ways. And you know exactly how to create businesses, opportunities, vocations that allow you to receive in abundant ways. The ideas come, the next step comes when we really allow this in. The 5th part is clearing the pattern of being a victim. And this one I saved till 5th, the 5th week, because this is so important and so big, and yet there's some things we need to get to this point of being able to see how victimhood plays out in every area of our life until it doesn't. And if you're still seeing, so it's a big part of our suffering is when we see other people as victims. You know, we see ourselves as victims. And if you're looking for villains, there has to be a victim. And we have gotten so used to looking for the villains, not realizing that as long as we're looking for villains and people that are controlling others and manipulating others, that there has to be a victim. And the fact is, everybody is powerful. Everybody can know their own power. And if we start seeing people as powerful and we start living in our power, we end the cycle of victimhood and villain and martyrs. And we do in our own life, in our collective, and we create a paradigm for that going forward. So that's going to be a really, really big one. And, you know, when you get to that point, when you really get to the point of creating authentic power and getting beyond the victimhood, control and manipulation and force just don't work against you anymore. They just don't work. They don't show up in your life. And you can feel it immediately when someone or you are trying to do it, and it just, you shift it, and it's so liberating. So that's part 5. And then the bonus that I just really, really, really wanted to include in this is part 6, which is really the path of the way shower, creating a new paradigm of relationships, health, wealth, power, and freedom in 2019 and beyond, and really knowing that there is a new potential for humanity, and it's up to you, and it's up to me, and it's up to you, and it's up to you, and you, and you. It's up to us. That's why we're here. I truly believe if you're listening to it, it's your purpose. It's part of the divine plan for your life. It's your calling. It's your destiny, or you wouldn't be listening to this. And it's time. And you're needed, and you're really important in all of this. So all of that, I wanted to make it so affordable so everybody could participate. So it's $97 for that 6-part series. You also receive a $100 off gift certificate or coupon. So you can either use the $100 off of a session for yourself, or since the holidays are coming, you can gift, using a gift certificate, that $100 off of a private session with the council or with me to someone as a gift for the holidays if you choose to do that. So you get the full course, which is $197 value, the $100 off a private session, all for $97, or 2 payments of, close to $50, whatever that ends up being. So that's the special offer. Go to the special offer page, beyondtheordinary.com/Sara17. You'll find lots more details. And let's go to the calls, John.
Let's go to the calls. And again, you can get to the offer by, again, clicking on the special offer button. And just a quick correction, it's beyondtheordinaryshow.com /Sara17. Just in case you guys were typing it in there, I didn't want you to land on somebody else's webpage by any chance, because this is the offer to jump on. And again, it's a fantastic offer. In Sarah's live calls, we get rave reviews. And your audience has grown tremendously from over the last couple of years, Sarah, and it makes sense. And so as you keep up leveling to everybody that's following you, that's on your membership, who does private sessions with you, it's like they become bigger, deeper fans because of what's out there. So again, highly, highly recommended. And thank you for putting this offer together. Yes,
we need you guys on this. I just have to say this: we need you guys on these calls in this course. We need you as part of the collective. This is everything that the council does. All of these channeled courses and experiences, they're a vibrational experience, and so it's not about having to do these deep, heavy processes and things. It's about come and be part of the vibration and ground this new level of awareness and beingness into your experience and into other people's lives. And so the collective is so, so, so important. And I just want to acknowledge and appreciate that, because it's the people who show up to these courses and these calls that make it so powerful.
Mm-hmm. So wonderful. Again, exciting. I can't wait for those of you who are participating, the gifts that you're going to receive and how much fun you're going to have. Wonderful. All right, Sarah, let's go to live calls. Got a lot of questions coming, a lot of people with their hands up. And the first caller, I'm guided to go to live calls. I want to go to Carrollton, Georgia. Telephone number ending in 9655.
Hello, this is Ann.
Hi, Ann. Welcome to the call.
Hi. I watched you with Dee Wallace, and I've done a lot of inner child work with her, but she has gotten from her counsel not to call it inner child, but that's conceptual, that it should be the little boy or little girl, and I just wanted to throw that in because I found that that's very good for me, because I was a certified hypnotherapist, and I have done a lot of inner child work, and I've always dealt with inner child up until she brought that new concept in. And that's why I wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I do call it my little girl a lot of times, or your little boy. I totally agree with that, and whatever feels right to you.
Well, I just thought you might want to introduce that as you talk to and work with people, and that's why I was called to call, and I guess her channel or somebody wanted me because you took my call number 1.
Thank you for that, Ann. I do agree.
Thank you. And I've taken all your courses up till now. Whether I will this one or not, I don't know, because I've worked with that so much, but I'll entertain it, and I do love your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Ann. I love it. All right, let's go to another caller. I want to go to Santa Monica now. Telephone number ending in 8992.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes,
welcome to the call. What's your name?
Oh, hey, thanks, guys. I so appreciate it. I was surprised. All right. The question I was hoping you could help me with is, I just feel like the nature of relationships in particular, like, love relationships, seems to be really changed. Well, there's a possibility for something extraordinarily new and different. Do you have any thoughts along that? Like, I've had little bits of ideas and stuff like that, but I just feel like that more information about that to come, and that would be useful to hear.
Oh yeah, I am so with you, and I think John, you can agree with this as well. I'm experiencing a whole new level of relationships and paradigm of relationship opening up in my life as I really apply and live this wisdom that the council brings in. As we open our heart and go deeper and heal our wounds, what shows up for us are these relationships that are based on absolute love and kindness and creating and holding space for each other to learn and grow and expand. It's so beautiful, and I believe we have the potential to set this new paradigm and create what this looks like. I had wonderful family members and wonderful parents, and the things that have come through from the council of how to be in relationship were not things that I was taught.
Right.
And even growing up Christian, as a child, the things around forgiveness and things that we were taught, what is opening up and what is coming through and the awareness that is coming through of what relationships were intended to be like for us is so far beyond what I ever learned. And so to be able to go deeper with someone and open our hearts and to be fully present and play full out and yet be able to say with an open heart to speak your truth without making the other person wrong, without going into being a victim, owning what you feel without having it ever be a fight or wrong, making the other person wrong. I mean, I see and feel where we're going in relationships, and it's so beautiful and it's so exciting. And as John and I have talked about, there is also the other part of it, which I didn't know either, which is that when someone comes into your life and you can fully love and be present and be vulnerable, and yet when the time comes for you to move in different directions, that can be loving and kind and harmonious as well. And that's also been my experience in living the wisdom and the teachings that the council brings through, is that, you know, we may find ourselves going through a series of relationships, or we might find ourselves with that one person that we spend the rest of this life with. But either way, the fear of it ending badly, which causes us to protect ourselves and not be vulnerable and not fully open, we can let that go because, and again, it comes back to, at least for me, the relationships that have ended really badly, I had very clear signs going in because all of their other relationships ended very badly for the same reason over and over again, which is just these loops and these wounds that we play out in relationships until we get it. But it's not the other person, it's in us. So I love this question. I'm so excited about where we're going with relationships and what we're bringing forth as a potential for relationships for everyone in this world. So, John, I think you probably have some insight on this, huh?
Well, I've got a lot of comments I can make to this, and really to bring it to the most simplistic answer that's within me, there's a release, letting go and letting God and faith that's happening in our relationships. And as we process and we get into harmonics with the higher vibration of the emotions that are within us, the harmonics of the old way of being, it plays a different tune that we no longer resonate with. And so there's no judgment either way, but knowing that particular song that you're playing now is going to attract those things that are ready to be enlightened in your life. And by having faith in that and awe and the innocent wonder of a child, that, releasing to that, it's freedom. And in that freedom, there isn't a grappling on to something that we feel is fulfilling us. There's actually a letting go into the grace of a new reality that's waiting to unfold.
Yes, thank you both. And what I've been experiencing recently is just being able to love so easily anybody. And one of the thoughts that's come to my mind is like, I don't know if I want a one person, if I'll ever want a one person relationship. Like it feels like that's restrictive or just the old way, that the more and more I'm just loving anybody, anytime, no matter where, is this awareness of like, well, I don't need, which I used to believe, I don't need a partner, I don't need that one person. So I'm feeling like just the nature of my beliefs around love, but also around me, we're just freeing ourselves from so many limitations on what love is.
I really love that you said that, and I just want to really acknowledge what you just said, because the wisdom that just came through that statement was just amazing, because that's so true. This is a limited belief it's a belief that we pick up. I'm not even going to say it's a limited belief. It's a belief that you get married or you have one person and then you do life with that one person. And I think the reason a lot of times relationships get stale is because this expectation around them is that you have to do everything with that person, and that's the person you give all your love to, and that's the person that you have to make happy. And I have never been more happy in my life than when I realized that you can have this intimacy with lots of different people that you love. You don't have to be, sexually involved with all of them, but you don't have to save all your love for just one person. That's the belief and limitation. You can be present and love lots of people in your life and have intimate relationships with lots of people in your life and still be, sexually committed to one person for however long, the rest of your life, or, until that relationship takes its course. But, John's a perfect example of this in my life. John's in a wonderful romantic relationship, and yet he has lots of great, amazing, wonderful friendships with women in his life that he loves, and there's this intimacy there. And I feel the same in my life, and I feel the same about John in that way. And yet I can't imagine if I tried to, if I hadn't been open to that in my life, how much I would have missed out on. So thank you for bringing that point to the light for all of us, because it's really important. And I think it is, again, part of what this new paradigm looks like, is that we have lots of really wonderful, intimate relationships. Does not mean, I'm not talking about polygamy or open sexual relationships. That's totally your own choosing. But, I love what you just said. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank
wonderful.
You,
and I want to interject. And when we're embracing that, Sarah, it's part of our accessing our sovereignty. And it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's expansive. And then there's something on the other side of sovereignty, which is synarchy, which is when you have two sovereign beings, two sovereign entities, those monarchies meeting together in their sovereign states. There's an elevation that happens, but it comes from the total freedom that's expressed in that surrendering into something greater to evolve. Now, we can have synarchy with groups of people. We can have it with one individual one. But again, it doesn't come from the need that you talked about. There's a wanting to merge for a higher purpose, for a higher outcome, to reach a higher octave. But it comes first from being in that sovereign state that you're talking about, that you're experiencing right now, that you're tasting so deliciously and cherishing during this time. It's a whole different conversation that opens up, but it's the path that you're on and the awareness around it. It's so beautiful. And again, we can change our truth about wanting to be in a relationship with an intimate other or not, and any time. And again, the beautiful part is that we can go through seasons of our truth, knowing that we can change our reality from one second to the next and our truth from one second to the next without judgment, just knowing that's part of the organic unfoldment that's happening within us.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I appreciate everything both of you said. And
I love this.
It just feels really
conversation.
order. Yes. All right.
Yeah, wonderful. Congratulations, and thank you for being such a beautiful example of what's going on.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
All right, let's go to a Q&A question into the webcast, because I definitely got to, there's some great questions that are coming in. So this is a great question that came in, because I've been experiencing some of this. So this person didn't write their name, but they write, "Thank you so much for your amazing, inspiring work, Sara. I know that I'm here as a way shower with a very important concept to share, but I seem to have difficulty clearing my path forward, particularly regarding my entanglement with a very abusive third." Well, actually, no, this is the question that I thought I was supposed to read, but let me go here. "I'm having difficulty clearing my path forward, particularly regarding my entanglement in a very abusive 34-year relationship with a man I left 3 years ago for the third time. Do you have any advice on dealing with it and taking decisive action, although I understand that I'm transmuting major abusive patterns for humanity?" So funny, I didn't think I was going to take your question, and it came up. So see, I get to not know and be wrong and still be right at the same time.
You make me laugh. I
was trying to.
This is such an important question. This is such an important question, and I absolutely love that she used the word entanglement, because the council has been talking so much about entanglement and this understanding of what entanglement is, and to consciously, intentionally choose who and what you entangle with without judgment going forward, and how important that is to not slowing us down on our path. Or getting you're going to get where you're supposed to go. You're going to get there. You could take the easy path, or you can take the windy road through the, dark, scary forest. But part of that includes who you entangle yourself with on your path. And sometimes we might really want something, we can feel it's coming, and yet, because of feelings of self-worth, we might, I'm not going to say settle, but that's the word that's coming, settle for something that's not quite what we really want, because we don't have the evidence that Source is absolutely delivering to you what you want in the divine right time, the divine right way, and the divine right person. And there's two questions here, really. So I want to say that piece about entanglement is that if you feel in every cell of your body that something's coming for you, whether it's a job or a business or a more purposeful idea that you want to bring to the world, or a relationship or a move, and you feel it. I think we're starting to really tune into that when we feel something big coming. Your job is to clear out anything in your life that's not in alignment to that. Your job is not to figure out how to make it happen. Your job is not to stress about it happening. It's to clear out any part of you that isn't there yet. So one of my favorite examples of this is a client that I do coaching work with, and he said, I want to be in a relationship with, he's in a relationship and not very happy, and he wanted to be in a relationship with someone that shared his same interests and was really athletic and was vegetarian and followed spirituality. And yet the question back to him was, are you doing all those things on a daily basis? Are you as healthy as you want to be? Are you as active as you want to be? Are you making your spiritual path the most important thing? And the answer was no. And so do those things, clear out all the things that you don't want to take with you where you're going, and get yourself to be your own best self. And then wait until you absolutely know that it is the right thing. But sometimes we get entangled in things because we feel like Source isn't delivering to us, and it is. It is, if you will just trust and allow it to unfold. So the second part, or the actual question that you asked around being in an abusive relationship, I love that she recognizes that you are here as a transformer. There are spiritual roles that we are here to play in addition to the physical roles that we're here to play, like a human roles, like a mother, or a son, or a father, or a administrative person, or an accountant, or a carpenter. Those are all roles, but we're here to play spiritual roles, and every single one of us are here to play the role of a transformer and transmuter, transmuting negative patterns that have been passed down from generation to generation of alcoholism or abuse or emotional abuse or negative thinking or prejudiceness. We are here as transformers. That's a spiritual role that we've stepped in here to play, to say, no, these patterns stop with me, and do it with an open heart and do it with love, so that these patterns do not continue. We can stop these things in one generation if we just don't continue to pass these limitations and limiting beliefs and unconscious behaviors and negative thinking and prejudice and abuse down. To her question, what can you do? I'm going to give you something so simple, and I guarantee you if you do it, and you absolutely do this from the core of your being, you will invite in a loving, harmonious separation or end to this pattern with this person. I think it was her previous husband. But normally what we do when we have a highly emotional experience like 30 or 40 years of abuse, when we think of that person, when we see that person, we go back into the story, which means we go back into playing out this victim thing. We go back into the energy. We go back into everything that keeps us entangled with that person. If you will do one thing and do it every single time you think of this person or you see this person, instead of going back into the story, instead of going back into what I call, the prosecutor on one shoulder and the defense attorney on the other, which is why that person is wrong and why you're right. If you will just say, I send you love. I send you love. I send you love. I send you love. And you will just keep saying that until the point that whenever you think of them, you send them love. There's no more story. There's no more trauma. There's no more victim. There's no more loop. You're no longer stuck in that loop. And then the absolute miraculous transformations I've seen with this one process has changed my life and a few important relationships in my life. But I've seen it do absolutely miraculous things in situations that you would think there is absolutely no hope to ever have any harmonious resolution with that person. And most of the time, the wisdom of the counsel is so incredibly simple that if we would just do it, we would see the results in a very short period of time. But sometimes it's so simple we don't do it because we're looking for something much more difficult. And this one thing, I'm telling you, if you will just do it, it holds the potential to transform this relationship for you. Every time you think of him, I send you love. I send you love. I send you love. When you wake up in the middle of the night, I send you love. I send you love whenever it comes up. And you will transmute that story, the energy, the pattern, all of it. Just say, I send you love. And it works for everybody. It works for people you know. It works for people you don't know. If you will not go into the story, you won't get stuck in the pattern and the loop. Just send in love.
Oh, beautiful, Sarah. And I also get, and I'm getting the chills. It's as we send those who we believe are transgressors our love. Whenever we get into bouts of self-doubt and self-judgment and self-criticism, just pause for a second and send ourselves love.
Yeah. I actually think that's what's actually going on beneath it all. Karma, to me, you and I have had this conversation, karma is instant. What you put out comes right back to you. It's like there is a mirror right all around you that whatever you're trying to put out in the world, no matter who you're trying to send it to, goes right back onto you. If you're worried about someone else, you're going to feel worried. If you're sending love to someone else, you're going to feel loved. If you're judging someone else, you're going to feel judged. And maybe to Anne's point, your little girl feels judged. Your little boy feels judged. But if you're sending love out, your little boy feels loved. Karma is instant. It is already done on to you. Whatever you're sending out, it's instant. it's right back on you. So if you're sending love and you just say, I send you love, I send you love, I send you love, the most important thing that's happening is your own self-love.
And that's igniting in the field. So beautiful. This is so great. Guys, everyone, again, to go deeper with Sara and the council and this new paradigm of clearing the path forward, Sara's definitely living it in her own life. And again, those who follow their own awareness and are clearing the paths and are examples of it from their own lives, those are the teachers, those are the masters that I like having on Beyond the Ordinary Show. And you guys are doing it for others as listeners, as taking in this information or igniting the awareness, the remembrance perhaps, and even adding to this conversation as well through your energy. You're blazing and clearing paths forward. And again, you get to be the teachers in your community, in your life, just by being an example of you living it. And so the special offer to, again, to get to that next threshold, and to become even more and have access more and the receptivity to love and abundance and joy that's available, the special offer is something that I know will provide tremendous support, not only getting there, but sustaining it and holding it as your new reality. So take advantage of this special offer. Again, it's $97. There's a 2-payment option. So much wisdom and clarity being shared through Sara. And again, all you have to do is click on the special offer button or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sara17, and it'll take you to that same page. Add it to the shopping cart, pick your 1 or 2 payment option, and you'll be able to start taking advantage of amazing energy that's going to come streaming your way. And, of course, the replay of our call, it's already 90 minutes there. It's crazy. It goes by so fast. The replay of our call will be playing all weekend long. We'll send the replay link out a little bit later this evening, but you can always access replays by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. And Sara, are there any closing comments that you want to leave with us tonight?
Oh, I have so much love in my heart in this moment for each and every one of you listening. And I hope that none of what John and I talked about comes across as any judgment, like anyone's not doing it right. We talked about this a little bit before the call, John, this like spiritual shaming that we do sometimes. And spiritual sort of ego around things. And listen, wherever you are right now is perfect. It's exactly where you're supposed to be. And you're being invited into more. And the work that we think we have to do, the work of earning a living and working hard and figuring it out and creating a business and all this stuff, it's not that heavy. It's just in this moment. Are you aligned to love and peace and joy? And if not, why not? Are you not allowing yourself to feel that innate goodness that is here for you in every moment? And it's usually, and I'll say almost always, because I don't know of any situation where it's not, in this moment, if you are not in peace, if you are not feeling love, if you are not feeling loved, if you are not in joy, if you do not feel free or powerful, it's because of some belief you have or some thought that you keep playing out or some story or some loop that you keep yourself stuck in because you keep telling yourself the same thing and doing and allowing those same patterns. And listen, this is a practice for all of us. This is not about being perfect. This is a practice every day of applying this and loving yourself and getting excited about your life. And just every morning when you wake up, I'm so happy and grateful for, and fill in the blank. I'm so happy and grateful to be getting out of bed. I'm so happy and grateful for this beautiful day. I'm so happy and excited about my life. I'm so happy and excited about what's coming next. Because I know I am. And I know I want to step into absolutely being and living my highest potential and supporting each and every one of you in doing the same. And so know that you are your purpose. You already are. You always have been. Your calling is within you. I promise you, your little boy or your little girl, they know what your calling is. They know how important they are. And if you start giving them the love and support and attention that they deserve, they will make sure you live your purpose and your calling here in this world, because they already know and they always have. And I think maybe that's sometimes why our little girl or our little boy gets so sad or gets frustrated, because they know you're here to have fun. They know you're here to play. They know you're here to create and experience joy. So I think that's why this is so important right now. But I love you, John. I always love our conversations. I think this is just such a beautiful collective experience. And to everyone who was listening, I love you, and I'm so appreciative for you being here on this call today. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Sarah. And before I hang up, someone typed in that you can't access the special offer by clicking on Sarah's button or on Sarah's picture. Actually, don't click on her picture. Click on, there's a purple button underneath her picture. It's a special offer. And when you click on that, it'll take you to the special offer page. And maybe we can clarify that a little bit better on future calls. So thank you for bringing that up. And it's with that, Sarah, always amazing to have these conversations with you and these transmissions streaming through. And for everybody on the call, you guys are amazing. Again, we're all doing this together, and it's this collective energy that we bring on these group calls, on these collective calls, if you will, that, again, puts us in harmonic, that wants us to sing our song louder, that wants a new expression, a more joyful expression to keep expanding into more love and more creativity and more play. So I want to thank each and every one of you that's on today's call, whether it may seem like you're going through something really hard in your life or you're expanding into a new level of joy. Just know that we're here supporting you, loving you, understanding with tremendous compassion and so much love, cheering you on, because we know that you got this. And so it's with it that I bow to you and namaste. And look forward to seeing you on the next call. Have a great evening.